Hey man, what's your name?
Destiny.
Hey Destiny, how'd you end up out this way?
Well, I got out of a relationship, it's a pretty bad one, and it just wasn't going nowhere good for my life. He was into doing bad things like counterfeit, and I just didn't see myself going with somebody like that. That was going to get me in deeper trouble.
I hear you. How did you end up out here in the streets? Were you like a young girl when you started, or is this a new thing?
No, I've been out here most of my life. I was dysfunctional as a child, and I would never go home, and like I would only about go home for cigarettes and stuff, and then CPS started getting a hold of my mom and telling her that she needed me to go to school. I wasn't having it, and they said that I would have to start going to school and drug testing and all things like that. And my mother was too. And so then we had a CPS case, and we went through a big ordeal, and it was over. It was over me getting caught at motels and stuff, and having sex at an early age and stuff. And it was also over a cousin of mine. She was very abusive to me and as a child, and she was a little bit older than me. She was like a teenager at the time, and I was just like a little bit younger. And she used to always bring in her boyfriends, and they would cause problems, and my life was just starting to get in bad shapes just because of a lawsuit that happened to me when I was a child. Me and my family. We were once a very rich family, but we got sued, and that's how we came to Maria Valley. Once I got out here, I decided to go to a church and to get better, and I guess that just wasn't the right church for me. It turned out to be a cult.
Where did you end up going after that?
Um, After that, my mom and grandma were so tired of me having to have to not be home for CPS and stuff, and so they were trying to get their kids too as well. So they sold me off to a truck driver basically.
They sold you off to a truck driver? And what happened after that?
Uh, well, I stayed with him for like 7 years on the road. It was a pretty pretty much a horrible relationship. It was abusive and all that. It was just really bad.
How'd,
And
how'd you get out of that?
I just walked away, and I left. Not too long after I left, I got with somebody and got short-term married, and then it was annulled, and then but we had a baby after that. I kept her for like 6 months, and then we we were kind of separating and deciding where to go, and he was argumentative, and I had just gotten a medical marijuana card, and the cops had showed up because of an argument, and so they took the baby.
Back to the truck driver. Um, was he making you do things you didn't want to do?
Uh, no, not really.
Or was it like pretend to be my wife type of thing?
Yeah,
So you pretended to be his wife
yeah,
for that long?
yeah.
And what was the moment where you said, I'm not doing this no more?
It just got too abusive, and it just wasn't gonna change, so I just left. Finally, I got up enough courage to leave.
And then you fell into the other lap of the other guy.
Yeah.
How did you meet this person?
Um, him and my mom were kind of dating actually, here and there, and I went over to see my mom, and she introduced me to her boyfriend. And while she was in the shower or whatever, he started macking up on me and kissing me and stuff. And then she came out, and I guess she figured that he was gonna get with me, and she left.
So a lot of these predators, I noticed, they go after young children. When did you find yourself to be attacked by one of these predators? Like, how old were you when it started happening?
I was probably about like 12.
12 years old? Are you comfortable sharing that experience, or we'll pass it up?
Um, no, I'm not really comfortable sharing that
That's
one.
all good. So around 12 years old, you're experiencing these predators. How old were you around the time when your mom had her boyfriend?
That was when I was older. It was like I was 24 at that time.
Okay. So that kind of like warped your ideal of what men are, right? They had to have like give
Yeah,
you an idea of like men are like this and that. Like, so
yeah.
what was your interpretation of men at that time?
Well, I knew there was somebody out there, like eventually that would, want me or something, or just not just use me for sex and you know, just not want me for just to have for a girlfriend or anything. I didn't realize it was ever gonna be like that. Like it would actually change that quick.
Mm,
Especially if you're out here alone and don't have money and stuff. You gotta do what you gotta do to survive sometimes.
yes, ma'am. So fast forward. Um, what are some of the things you see out here on the streets that are like the most dangerous things you've seen that you do to stay away from those things?
Well, yeah, I mean, drugs are always bad and stuff, and where that comes into play, it also goes with thieves and things. And a lot of people don't like it when people steal stuff, but a lot of people will go in and take offense and start handling them for doing so. And so you never know when might be the right place or the right time that you might be in a wrong situation, that somebody might just come and take your life. You never know.
Have you seen that before where someone just comes in here and that's
Yeah.
it? Wow. What's your drug of choice?
Marijuana and methamphetamine.
Gotcha. What do you think the appeal of it is, like to be doing those two? Um, talking to people out here, they tell me what they think is the reason they do it. What is your reason for doing these things?
Well, when I I'm mainly a stoner. I used to like only smoking weed before I got on the streets and stuff and got away from my childhood home. And I didn't realize that my family had been doing methamphetamine. But I soon found out after that cult school had closed that's how they were.
Mm. A lot of people talked about methamphetamine. Say it helps them get through the day. Does that help you get through the day? Covering up your traumas.
No, it just makes me think a lot less about stuff like that should be affecting me more. I think, and it just gives me
Yeah.
less of an appetite and things like that. But I'm really getting tired of it. I could quit it at any time. I believe I just haven't got the will to do it right now.
What's your ambition right now? What do you want to do?
Well, I'd like to get a place to stay where me and my dogs can be safe, but it's kind of hard because nobody will accept dogs.
Mm. I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna get your information. Try to see if we can get you a place with dogs. Are you open to living in a shelter?
Yeah, as long as my dogs can stay with me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What's the worst thing you've ever seen out here? The most raw, lack of humanity type of deal you've seen out here?
Um, uh, I'd have to think about it for a minute. There's been a lot out here it's just a bad town. This town is.
Yeah. What was the moment?
I've seen drive-bys. I've seen things like that.
What was the moment when you're like, man, humanity is lost?
When I was about 10 and I moved to Marina Valley.
Tell me about that.
Well, it just I figured since I was going down into the poverty level, I figured that it was just gonna get all bad from there, especially with the way my family was, because they were all just like greedy their whole lives and they never really did care much for me that much. I don't think they just had me around to just to have, I guess, because my mom didn't want to give me up for abortion. I don't think my great grandmother would let her.
What's the biggest lesson you learned out here in these streets?
Try not to deal with too many people. Just stick to yourself.
Yes, that's a common thing I'm hearing. You can't trust too many people out here, right?
Yeah.
When have you ever found love out here?
Yeah, I have found love. I have a boyfriend that's been with me for a long time. Like he's stuck with a couple of kids through me, and he's still running around out here. I'm still around him right now.
What makes you stay attached to this individual?
Um, well, it was because I had me and him had twins together.
So you guys got history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he was married when I had him, so
So I heard you guys got kind of have like open relationship because I see it's kind of wild out here. Like he can do what he
yeah,
wants, you can do what you want.
yeah.
So when it comes to like addiction, are you guys out here like I don't want to disrespect you in any way, but like how do you make money to get this stuff?
Um, well, usually I'll just have like one good person, and they usually give me enough, you know, if I sleep with them.
You gotta sleep with them.
Yeah,
Yeah. Are you in tune with fentanyl? Have you seen like that?
I
No.
don't like. I don't do anything with that. No.
So like the meth, educate the kids out here. Um,
It's a vicious cycle. You'll go in and out of jail all your life, and it's not good. It'll ruin
mm,
your mentality and your spirit.
yeah.
You guys got to look up to your future. You know, you are going to be the future, and you are going to hopefully make it better for everybody else. You got to believe in yourself and come out of this.
Tell me like the strongest thing you could tell a child to stay off these streets. What's the strongest message you give them?
Love yourself. You're not going to have much when you get older. You're not going to want to be out here. It really sucks.